Welcome to the May 2024 Star Wars Canon Update. Last month we got the finale of The Bad Batch, Tales of the Empire, and 11 new comic issues, so let's dive in. The Bad Batch ended with an emotional and intense episode. Nobody died and we mostly got a happy ending. Of course, we also got a small look at the future, watching a grown Omega head off to join the rebellion. If you're watching this video, I assume you've seen the episode, so I'll move on, but if you want to see my full review, I'll put it in the cards. Tales of the Empire also came out with 3 shorts about Morgan Elsbeth and 3 about Barriss Offee. I enjoyed the Elsbeth episodes well enough, but the Barriss ones were really good. We finally got to see what happened to Barriss Offee, but now we still have that question as her fate is somewhat up in the air. Anyway, same as the Bad Batch, I assume you've seen the shorts, so I'll get into comics, but if you want my full thoughts, I'll put them in the cards. The High Republic issue 7 finally brought Baron Boolan into the main story. We still don't know how Skier met that young Yacome girl, and Sarret takes issue with protecting a Darksider even if she is a child. A child of the Storm kidnaps her and takes her to Boolan, but Lorna D slipped a tracker on her so they can rescue everyone taken to his lab. The Baron was in an issue of Shadows of Starlight, but otherwise he's been only talked about in a lot of the books. I've been waiting to see what his deal is. The High Republic Adventures issue 6 was a pretty chill issue. Lula has left the Order, but is sticking with the Jedi like Zine. The Nihil show up to attempt to intimidate them, but they all group together to chase them off, intimidating them right back. Saber for Hire issue 2 kept the story moving along quickly, which I appreciate. Ty Yorick saves a bunch of kids from the Nihil, one of whom is Force-sensitive and named Lean, and she's the same species as Lean Costana, who is known to be the master of Sifo Dyas. And that character was also created by Cavan Scott, so I think she's meant to be one and the same. But Druin races off without Ty to help the Chancellor's son, forcing her to become more than just a monster hunter. Free Comic Book Day released a cute Young Jedi Adventures comic that crossed over with the High Republic Adventures. Nubs and Court have to work together to fly a vector despite being unable to communicate with one another. They overcome their difficulties to save the Innovator, a ship from the books. A cute story with some cute art by Andy Duggan. I liked seeing the High Republic cast in the Young Jedi art style. Since May saw the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace, we got a special one-shot story about the film. Young Anakin helps free a Tusken slave before they can be microchipped, which winds up giving hope to Shmi Skywalker after her son leaves Tatooine. We also got a little more insight into his relationship with Obi-Wan, and even showed us that Anakin overheard some harsh words the Padawan expresses in the film, which I liked. In the final issue of Mace Windu, Mace battled and defeated a former Jedi student who had walked away from the Order to start some weird anti-technology cult, which was strange and seemed like it came out of nowhere. It was a lot to introduce right at the end, but it's possible this could be a tie-in for the Mace Windu book that's coming out in October called The Glass Abyss. Weirdness aside, Mace gained control of the Ultra Coaxium formula, making sure the Jedi were the only people who had it. Jango Fett issue 3 was fun. I was worried it would turn out that the artifact Jango was after would wind up being a person, but that got flipped on its head, and the artifact was simply a fake in the hands of a young Nakano Lash from the Bounty Hunters comic. Aurra Sing also flips her hunt of Fett on its head, working with him instead of against him. They realize they've all been set up with a fake for some reason, and a bunch of other bounty hunters get pinged to take them out. Star Wars issue 46 resolved Mon Mothma's kidnapping. It was cool to see her win over one of the kidnappers, and I like Lando's continued commitment to the rebellion despite being on trial for potential execution. This still isn't the most tense arc, since we know where Lando will wind up when all is said and done, but it's enjoyable. Free Comic Book Day gave us another issue from Marvel that was a joint Star Wars and Darth Vader story. First, there was a flashback of Luke and friends rescuing some rebels who were all left behind during the evacuation of Hoth. Luke was able to use the Force to guide them back to the safety of the Wampa Cave while the Imperials chasing them froze to death. For Darth Vader, Sabe is back and on the hunt for Luke. She's being helped by Warba, who was introduced as a scam artist in the 2015 run of Star Wars. She appears to be working with Vader, but I bet there's more to learn about that. I was surprised by the issue, which seemed more integral to the story than most Free Comic Book Day releases. Darth Vader issue 46 followed up on that issue, continuing Sabe and Warba's journey to seek Luke, but most of the story was about Vader attacking Exegol for the second time this series. The first time was way back in the early days of the run, but this time Vader is more deceptive and thoughtful in his approach to usurp Palpatine's power. Of course it's not gonna work, and the Sith Eternal wake up Asuma Verminoth to attack Vader, but he already bested it back in the previous issues, so I don't expect it'll be that big of a problem. Darth Maul Black, White, and Red issue 2 was cool. I enjoyed the Vader version of the series mostly just for the art, but allowing each issue to tell a full story feels better, and the art is still good. This one was a simple training mission for Maul. Sidious sends him to attack a bunch of former assassins, mercenaries, and bounty hunters who are now trying to live a peaceful life, just because he can. But they work together to save a single person from the Sith Apprentice. For Story of the Month, I've gotta give it to the Bad Batch finale. It's always nice to have an emotionally satisfying ending. In June, we're getting the premiere of The Acolyte and a total of 5 episodes. Temptation of the Force comes out as the new High Republic novel, there are 6 new comic issues, and apparently Star Wars Hunters will finally be released. The Canon update will return at the end of the month to cover all those new stories. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.